Okay, so again,
Against Kortschnoj, yes.
against
This is
Kortschnoj.
also a very funny game, you'll see. Against Kortschnoj, he played against Zemish. And very complicated game until one moment. And then finally, very beautiful again. Okay, one of the main lines with bishop e3 and knight c6. Here, knight g2 and a6. Okay, here, the first moment. White can decide to play like this with knight c1 or a3. a3 is also possible, like Botvinnik. Botvinnik played like this, a3, b4 first, and then the knight c1, knight b3, trying to control everything, you know. Well, this is different, and White plays almost the same idea, but a little bit different. The alternative, very important alternative here, is instead of knight c1 to play immediately queen d2 castle, you know, like my game against Anderson and so on. You see, you remember the games that we show already. The idea with queen d2 and castle is to attack on the king side immediately with h4 and bishop h6. This is the alternative. Knight c1 is more strategic, and white gives a small possibility black to come with the knight first to d4, and then we have a different line. But it's something else. I mean, it's not the same. Okay, queen in d1, and he played knight c1. Okay, knight c1. And now e5. Okay, knight e5, d5, knight d4. Of course, now taking in d4 is very bad for white. White is lost if he takes in d4. So he has to play knight.
What is lost if he takes?
He takes immediately is very bad. You know? First of all, because he gave the bishop, which is not good.
Yeah.
But now knight takes e4 and white can resign because
knight takes here.
If you take in e4, you lose the queen.
Yes.
If not, the position is destroyed. But of course, this is very bad. No, nobody would take in d4. No, but here he plays knight b3, and after knight b3, there are two possibilities: to give a pawn for initiative by playing c5. c5, d takes c6, b takes c6, and black loses a pawn in d4 with some chances, tactical chances, which is probably not enough for black. Or play like in their game, first of all, taking in b3, and now the theory is like this. Knight takes a, takes b3, c5. Complicated, but better for white all the time, you know. This is theory. Okay, he took with the queen, and now after c5, the game is different because white can take in c6, you know. So now he takes in c6 and has time to castle, long side. Okay, castle. So we see the result. Here, for instance, the first moment is to play what...
You play this?
He played bishop e6, yes, but I think that he could play bishop here. Just a moment. Here. He could play even queen e7. It's okay. It's better for white. But the next 2-3 moves, we'll see there are some differences. Black could play something else, probably better, you know. Bishop e6. Okay, so queen a3. And after queen a3, he played knight e8. Well, knight e8 is a little bit passive, but still possible, you know, still possible. In one moment before, black could play immediately d5, which gives a very good play for white. He is better all the time, but it's very unclear, you know, because it's very tactical, the whole game. Here, it was the second moment where black could play in some different way, more complicated and maybe better. You know, here Kortschnoj played a little bit passive again, f6, which is you know, something not so clear. And he accepts the fact that white is better and has the initiative. The alternative here, complicated but not so bad, was to play bishop f6, recommended by Tal. You know, bishop f6, and now bishop h6. And now he gives the exchange by playing bishop takes h4. Very complicated, but okay, it's possible, you know. If he takes in f8, he won the exchange, but black has still a very strong black bishop. And he has counter chance. This is not clear here.
But how about this pawn
Well,
here?
now he doesn't take. I mean, he gives check. No, he gives check in g5.
Ah, okay.
Now, if you play f4, is bad for white because you lose too many pawns. You have to move the king, and then he has time to play h5. It's excellent for black, Excellent. It's a normal game.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. So, okay, it was better anyway than the game, you see. So f6, now it's clear that white is better. And we see why. So, okay, he played c5. Well, again, the problem now was that he realized the fact that he has to play something because the white diagonal is weak. He wanted probably to play d5 after c5, but it's dangerous for black because he has immediate threats. You see, with the rook in f8, if you play d5, he has time to take in d5. Yeah, you have to take, and now even knight takes d5 is all right, and bishop c4 afterwards. You see.
Bishop c4
Bishop
here.
c4, and you lose the queen.
Yes, yes,
Or
yes.
he could play immediately bishop c4 instead of knight takes d5, takes, and now bishop c4 immediately. Now, again, what can you do? You have to move the queen, knight c7, for instance, knight c7, and now knight takes d5, knight takes d5, and queen b3. Queen b3 wins. He loses material, because he's not possible to play anymore rook b8. After rook b8, bishop takes d5 and wins. Everything with tempo,
Yeah.
He takes with check in e6 and you lose every piece, you see.
Yeah.
So therefore, he has to play rook f7. But after rook f7, white is clearly better here, So rook f7. And now the variation is very nice. Queen a4. He's attacking the pawn from c7, from c6. But he wants to play later on bishop c4. The idea is bishop c4 later on,
Yeah.
So now you have to move the queen. Queen c7, and now has time to play bishop c4. Now it's clear why white is better. Now you have to take in c4, and again you have to move something, and you'll have some weaknesses later on, which the weakness is unpleasant. If it's enough or not for white, we'll see, but it's very, very good anyway, it's very pleasant. So what did he play here? He played
h5.
h5, excellent move, okay. I mean, he wants to open somehow, So after d takes c5, he took in g6. Now he's better here on the queen side. He's better there on the king side,
Both sides.
He's better, So now he has to realize the advantage. Queen e6, again, very strong. It's not necessary to take the pawn immediately. The important thing is to have a good chance to come with a piece in d5, I mean, to take the pawn later on in c6. This is the line. I mean, now he took in d8, no? He took, and queen takes c6. Well, rook there, queen there, and queen takes. Well, now everything is clear. Why white is better? Because now he wants to come immediately with the knight in d5, If he arrives, then it's excellent for white.
Why? Because the knight is very...
Well, if the knight arrives in d5 and black had nothing to do, I mean, he can't control, then it's clear white is probably with decisive advantage already, So what to do? Knight c7, the best move, So probably he considered that it's not enough to arrive. Okay, he can arrive there. He can take back with the rook or with the pawn, but maybe it's not enough. Maybe black can somehow resist, So he wants more. He wants more. So he played queen b6. Okay, now if you, what did he play? He played queen e6. Excellent move. I mean, he wants to control somehow the squares. If you take in e6, it's better for white, much better for white, but it's not clear. If black has time to arrive with the knight in d4, white is better, but maybe it's not enough, you see. With the same pawns, maybe it's not enough. So white tries to have more. I mean, he took a pawn. Now, at least he has some something. I mean, pawn up.
Yeah.
But black has some counterplay, some small counterplay compared with some other positions before. Very passive, the same pawns, but very passive. Now here, pawn down, but at least black has, some counterplay. So queen comes back. I mean, he prepares the idea from their game, you see. So check, king b1, knight d4. Well, fantastic. Black arrived in d4. I mean, he can hope, especially in time trouble, maybe, something can happen. We'll see. So rook c1, queen b5, and now knight c7. Okay. After knight c7, he moved the queen. Queen e2. Well, here, instead of this, I think afterwards they said that in this position, black had a very dangerous position if he moved back the queen, something in b6 or b7, The possibility was here, instead of queen e2, to move queen b6, for instance, or queen b7. Okay, let's say queen b6. And now knight e8 check, and king f8, no?
Yeah.
And rook c8. Okay, and rook c8, and they said, okay, the position is dangerous. Maybe it was enough to win, because he threatens queen a3 check, almost mate after queen a3 check. But very big time trouble. Maybe he could somehow escape by playing king e7, maybe just by chance, like this,
King e7.
King e7, yeah. It's not, if it's not mate, it's not clear how can white win immediately, King e7, because after queen there,
Yes.
maybe he moves king d7, and maybe he can escape somehow, you see. Because you can't win immediately with rook c7 because you lose the knight, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, very unclear. But probably because of the time trouble, they had the impression that he's immediately lost. And therefore, Kortschnoj played queen e2, trying to have something in very big time trouble,
Mm-hmm.
He played very active like this, queen e2. But here, very big surprise. After knight c6 check, he's lost immediately. Now he has to move king there, and now he's mate,
Oh.
He gives the queen and he's mate in h1, and he resigned immediately.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice finish.
Nice ending, yeah.
Very unpleasant surprise, to get such a move. so dead.
In time trouble also.
Terrible. Yeah.
Wow, nice.
Mate in one, by this level, Yeah. But this is typical Kortschnoj, He wanted to have always something, And here he took too many risks. I mean, he preferred to do something very risky, but at least he has some counterplay. But unfortunately, white has such a move, Because if he doesn't have such a move, it's not clear. Maybe he's winning, but it's a little bit unclear. Mm-hmm. But after queen h6 check, you can resign in one, just like that. Well, very funny until the end, the whole game. Now it's finished, of course. It's forced. Wow. Look what a move, check. Check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.